sometimes you go out, you see that it's busy, you see there's lots of like really good surfers, you might be intimidated.
Just push the reset button and I'll breathe and, count my breaths and just get my head together, and then hopefully the next wave I'm back in form. So I don't know, there's a lot to be said about people with busy minds and just focusing and taking all that pressure off yourself and just paddling out in a really good state, mental state.
Do you remember any like hurdles that you hit that you overcame, and like how you overcame them that might be useful for our community?
As from a competitive point of view, I think the biggest thing for me was just learning to calm your nerves. Like as I got older and into sort of more of the open and the pro junior divisions, I would just constantly I'd lose my heat before I paddled out. I'd be, that guy's got, I know that guy, I've seen him in a magazine. You just got all this self-talk going on. And, I've seen that guy surf. Oh my God, how am I ever going to beat him? And you've got this negative self-talk going on. So it was kind of, for me, I learned later about meditating and how to sort of control your breath. And I guess some of that would come through breath hold stuff as well once I got a bit older. But the very first thing that someone gave me, which worked for me, being a busy mind, that going back to that hyperactive description that was thrown around a lot before there was ADHD or ADD. That just wasn't a thing. It was, oh yeah, my boy's hyperactive. Well, I can tell you right now, I was undiagnosed ADHD. There's no doubt about it, and I can see it with my kids. I've got one of those who's anyway, ADHD. But I got a busy mind or monkey mind. It's just too much going on. So if you're going to compete at a high level and you want to focus through a heat, this guy gave me, I don't know if they're the 3D books. Have you seen those books that you open up, you've got to stare at it and the picture slowly comes out through the pixels of the art? Yeah. Have you seen those things?
Yeah, I've seen those, yeah.
Yeah, so someone told me about those and I went and bought one, and I'd sneak off down the beach and pull that book out and just sit there and focus on that book, whether it be in the car or down the beach or somewhere else. And I distinctly remember doing it, going, I can work these 3D pictures are coming out. This is amazing. And then I went out and surfed a really good heat. Like it emptied my mind and cleaned me out and sent me out there where I could sort of start making a few better decisions while I was competing. So that was a real turning point for me. And it wasn't till much years later, like I was a late bloomer. I literally don't reckon I started surfing my best heats until I was in my late 20s. And by then, I was way past the opportunity to become a pro surfer. But that one thing, that simple thing of just emptying your mind and focusing on the tasks in front of you, that book was the start of it. And then much, much later, it was, all about breathing and counting your breaths and a little bit of basic meditation to help me prep before I paddled out. And I use it not just competing, but I actually do use that free surfing. Sometimes I'm having a bad surf, and I'll sit out the back and just push the reset button, and I'll breathe and count my breaths and just get my head together, and then hopefully the next wave I'm back in form. So I don't know. There's a lot to be said about people with the busy minds and just focusing and taking all that pressure off yourself and just paddling out in a really good state, mental state.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's obviously the context for that was in competition, but I think it applies to your everyday surfer as well. Sometimes you go out, you see that it's busy, and you see there's lots of like really good surfers, you might be intimidated, and kind of what you talked about seems like a good way to clear your mind and get into the right mindset before you go for your surf. So no, that makes a lot of sense.
Do you struggle with your paddle power? Well, I can go months without surfing and roll up to pumping waves and surf 3-hour sessions multiple times a day, day after day after day, by using the Basis Paddle Trainer. It was a total game changer for me, and it can be for you too. These things actually work, unlike elastic resistance bands. You can train your paddling anytime, anywhere, so you can catch more waves and have more fun. Just 10 to 20 minutes a couple times a week, and you're gonna be in insane paddle shape, right? So remember, the key progression is more waves, and the key to more waves is more paddle power. Check it out at surfbasis.com. You're gonna be stoked.